Number 20. Alfa Romeo. Did you know that Alfa Romeo's logo shows a giant snake eating a man? Yep, not exactly what you'd expect from a luxury Italian car brand that's been around since 1910. But surprisingly, it all makes sense when you know the history. On the left side, there's a red cross, a clear nod to Milan's flag, since Alfa Romeo was born in that city. On the right, things get a little strange. That serpent is called the Bisione, a symbol from the Visconti family who ruled Milan way back in the 14th century. Some say the snake is devouring a man. That's pretty gruesome. So another explanation came that it's giving birth to a new man, purified and reborn. Number 19, Lamborghini. Few automotive rivalries are as legendary or as personal as Lamborghini versus Ferrari. It all started in the early 1960s when Ferruccio Lamborghini, a successful tractor manufacturer, bought a Ferrari. However, he wasn't impressed, especially with the clutch. So, like any bold Italian businessman, he complained directly to Enzo Ferrari. Ferrari, known for his ego, dismissed him and said, "Stick to tractors." Big mistake. Naturally, Ferruccio took that very personally. Not long after, in 1963, he started his own car company to rival Ferrari, and he made sure the world knew it. As a tourist, Ferruccio chose a bull for the logo. He also loved bullfighting, admiring the animal's strength and determination. The specific bull is a Mura, a breed famous in Spanish bullfighting. Number 18, Hyundai. Many people think the logo of the South Korean company Hyundai is just a fancy letter H, and yes, it is the first letter of the brand's name. But there's a bit more to it. Look closely and you'll notice the H is slightly slanted, almost like it's leaning forward. That's because it actually represents two people shaking hands. One is a customer, and the other is a Hyundai representative. It's their way of saying, "Nice doing business with you," without needing a single word. Even better, the oval around them symbolizes the company's global reach, like a friendly handshake that spans the world. Interestingly, the company's very first logo in 1969 looked quite different. It had a car window-shaped oval inside a circle with the letters H and D, short for Hyundai. Number 17, Toyota. Did you know Toyota started off making weaving machines, not cars? Before building cars, founder Sakachi Toyoda made his mark by inventing an automatic loom. That early success eventually led to the birth of Toyota Motors in 1937 and a whole new legacy. Fast forward to 1989 when Toyota introduced its now iconic 3-oval logo on the Celsior, just in time for its 50th anniversary. At first glance, it looks like a stylized T, but there's more going on. The two overlapping inner ovals represent the heart of the customer and the heart of Toyota coming together. The large outer oval, that's the world embracing the brand. And what's more interesting is that the individual parts of the logo actually spell out the letters of the company's name. Another detail worth mentioning is that if you squint a little, you might even spot the eye of a needle with thread, a subtle nod to Toyota's humble beginnings, beautifully woven into the logo itself. Number 16, Ford. Everyone knows Ford's iconic blue oval. It's been around since 1927, and while it's recognizable, let's be honest, it's not the most thrilling part of Ford's logo history. No, the real star here is the Ford Mustang. Surprisingly, the famous running horse logo didn't actually debut on the Ford Mustang you're thinking of. Instead, on the Mustang I concept, it first appeared back in 1962. A totally different car with a rear engine and a futuristic speedster vibe. It barely even looked like a Mustang, but things get even stranger. Later that same year, Ford revealed another version, the actual concept of the Mustang we know today. But guess what? There was no horse on the front. Instead, it had a cougar badge because the car was still being called by its original name, Cougar. Eventually, Ford changed the name to Mustang, but even then the logo wasn't locked in. At one point, they even considered using just a horse's head, like a chess piece. Thankfully, that didn't stick. Finally, Ford approved designer Phil Clark's full running horse, and it made it just in time for the 1964 launch. Number 15, Ferrari. Ferrari's iconic logo, the prancing black horse, isn't just a cool design choice. It actually has a heroic backstory rooted in aviation and legacy. The story begins in 1917 during World War I, when Italian fighter pilot Francesco Baracca painted a black horse on his aircraft. It became his signature, a symbol of courage and victory in the skies. Sadly, Baracca was killed in combat on June 19, 1918, after 34 aerial victories, but the legacy of Italy's top fighter pilot didn't end there. Fast forward to 1923, that's when a young Enzo Ferrari, then a rising racing driver, met Baracca's parents at a race in Ravenna. They admired his spirit and suggested he adopt the prancing horse as a symbol of good luck. Ferrari agreed but made one key change. He placed the horse on a bright yellow shield, the official color of Modena, his hometown. By 1932, the now iconic logo made its official debut on Alfa Romeo race cars run by Scuderia Ferrari. And when Ferrari began building his own cars in 1947, the emblem came with him, prancing proudly on every machine. Number 14. Saab. Ever seen Saab's logo and thought, why is there a crowned chicken on it? Don't worry, you're not alone. But it's not a chicken, and definitely not a rooster. That creature is a griffin, a mythical beast with the head of an eagle and the body of a lion. And it didn't just appear out of nowhere. The griffin comes from the coat of arms of Count von Skåne, a historic symbol tied to the southern region of Scania, Sweden. So how did this legendary beast end up on a car badge? In 1969, Saab, originally an aerospace and defense company, merged with Scania Vabis, a truck and bus manufacturer. This partnership gave birth to the combined name and logo, Saab Scania. The griffin was borrowed from Scania's emblem, representing strength, nobility, and Scandinavian heritage. The co-branded badge appeared on Saab cars throughout the 1970s to early 2000s, until the two companies split in 1995. Even then, the griffin remained, refined and modernized, but still wearing its gold crown proudly. Number 13. BMW. At first glance, BMW's logo looks simple, a circle split into blue and white quadrants. But for decades, people believed it represented a spinning airplane propeller. After all, BMW did start out making aircraft engines, so it made sense, right? Well, not quite. Let's rewind to Germany in 1917. BMW was founded during World War I, and its main business was indeed building aircraft engines. But the famous logo? That didn't actually come from planes. Instead, it was adapted from the emblem of Rapp Motorenwerke, the company BMW evolved from. The blue and white colors inside the circle represent Bavaria, the region in southern Germany where BMW was born. So how did the propeller myth begin? In 1929, BMW ran an ad that cleverly placed the logo over rotating airplane blades. It wasn't meant to change the meaning, just to highlight their aviation background. But the public instantly assumed the logo was a propeller, and BMW, perhaps wisely, never corrected the misconception. It wasn't until much later that BMW clarified the truth. And when the company redesigned the badge in 2020, making it flat and modern, they kept the original colors and layout as a tribute to their Bavarian roots and early history in aviation. Number 12. Audi. At first glance, Audi's logo, 4 silver rings, might seem like a modern art piece or maybe just a fancy Olympic knockoff. However, the story behind it is far more complex. In 1932, 4 German car companies, Audi, DKW, Horch, and Wanderer, were struggling to survive during the Great Depression. So they did the smart thing. They teamed up to form a new company called Auto Union. To represent their unity, they designed a logo with 4 interlocking rings, one for each brand. It's kind of like a classy version of the Avengers, but for early German automakers. Fast forward a few decades, and Volkswagen eventually bought Auto Union. Instead of ditching the history, VW kept the 4-ring logo and brought back the name Audi. Number 11. Subaru. Subaru's logo, a cluster of 6 stars, isn't just a pretty design pulled from the night sky. In fact, it's packed with meaning, both celestial and corporate. Let's go back to Japan in the early 1950s. After World War II, 6 Japanese companies merged to form a larger industrial group called Fuji Heavy Industries. Their focus ranged from aircraft manufacturing to scooters and even buses. Eventually, when the group entered the automotive world, they needed a brand name that captured their identity. They chose Subaru, the Japanese word for the Pleiades, a real star cluster you can see in the night sky. In Japanese mythology and astronomy, the Pleiades represent unity and harmony, a perfect fit for 6 companies becoming one. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz. The story of the Mercedes-Benz logo starts over a century ago, with a simple postcard in Germany around 1872. Gottlieb Daimler, one of the founding fathers of the modern automobile, drew a small 3-pointed star on a card he sent to his wife. Daimler felt the star was a good luck charm for the company. It is believed that Daimler envisioned the star as a symbol that would one day represent his company's dominance in land, sea, and air transportation. Fast forward to 1909, after Daimler's passing, his sons Paul and Adolf remembered their father's symbolic doodle. They submitted the star design for trademark, turning that quiet family memory into the official symbol of Daimler Motorengesellschaft, which would later become part of Mercedes-Benz. And by 1926, when Daimler merged with Carl Benz's company, the 3-pointed star was polished into the sleek emblem we recognize today, now encircled and paired with the Mercedes name. So yes, what began as a simple scribble turned into a global icon, one that proudly declares Mercedes' intent to rule over everything, everywhere. Number 9. Volvo. Although some people mistakenly interpret Volvo's logo as a symbol of masculinity, the design actually has much older and deeper roots. In Latin, Volvo literally means I roll, and the circle with an arrow pointing diagonally upward is the ancient alchemical symbol for iron, a direct tribute to Sweden's long-standing reputation for high-quality steel and industrial strength. It reflects the brand's core values: strength, reliability, and resilience. Over the decades, as ownership shifted from Swedish founders to Ford Motor Company in 1999, and later to China's Geely in 2010, the identity has remained consistent, grounded, robust, and unmistakably Scandinavian. Number 8. Infiniti. Infiniti, Nissan's luxury division, was launched in 1989 to take on the likes of Lexus, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. Interestingly, despite the name resembling the word infinity, the logo does not use the infinity symbol. Instead, it features two clean lines converging toward a single point on the horizon. This deliberate design is meant to evoke an endless road, symbolizing progress, ambition, and a continuous drive forward. Number 7. Rolls-Royce. The spirit of ecstasy, the small statue on the hood of every Rolls-Royce, isn't just a luxury symbol, it's also surprisingly high-tech. On newer models, it automatically retracts into the hood if someone tries to remove it. The story behind the statue is just as interesting. It was modeled after Eleanor Thornton, who worked as the secretary and secret romantic partner of John Montague, one of Rolls-Royce's earliest supporters. Because their relationship had to stay hidden, early versions of the statue showed Eleanor with a finger over her lips, hinting at their private affair. Sadly, Eleanor died in 1915 when the ship she was on was sunk by a German U-boat during World War I. Still, her image lives on through one of the most iconic symbols in automotive history. As for the badge, the overlapping RR stands for the company's founders, Charles Rolls and Henry Royce. Number 6. Cadillac. Ever notice how Cadillac's logo looks like something straight out of a medieval fantasy series? That's because it kind of is. It's filled with gold, red, blue, black, and silver. Well, the company says it was based on the family crest of a French explorer named Antoine de la Mode Cadillac, who the brand is named after. But here's the twist. He wasn't actually a nobleman. Most historians think he just made up the fancy crest to sound more important. Still, Cadillac ran with it. Each color in the badge has a meaning. Gold in the logo stands for riches and wisdom, red for boldness, silver for purity and charity, and blue for knightly valor. Put it all together and the logo says, we're classy, strong, and proud of it, even if the backstory is a little made up. Number 5. Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi's logo is one of the few in the car world that has stayed the same for over a century, and it's got a cool backstory. When founder Yataro Iwasaki started the company, he blended two family crests. His own family symbol, which featured 3 diamond-shaped water chestnuts, and the crest of his first employer, the Yamanouchi family, which had 3 oak leaves. The result? The iconic 3-diamond logo we still see today. Simple, sharp, and instantly recognizable. Interestingly, even the name Mitsubishi ties directly to the design. Mitsu means 3, and Hishi, often pronounced Bishi when combined, means water chestnut, a term often used in Japan to describe a diamond shape. Number 4. Maserati. Ever wonder why Maserati uses a trident for its logo? Well, in 1914, the Maserati brothers founded their company in Bologna, Italy. One of the city's most famous landmarks is a statue of Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, holding a massive trident in Piazza Maggiore. Inspired by that statue, the brothers chose the trident to represent their brand. The logo itself was designed in 1920 by Mario Maserati, the only brother who wasn't into engines. He was an artist, so while his siblings built the cars, he created the emblem that would become legendary. Before we reveal the final 3, make sure to leave a like and share your thoughts on the most interesting logo we've mentioned so far. Number 3. Chevrolet. You've seen it everywhere. That bold golden cross that Chevy calls the bow tie. But where did it actually come from? Well, nobody knows for sure. There are 3 different stories floating around. One version says co-founder William C. Durant was inspired by a wallpaper design he saw in a Paris hotel. Another claims he sketched it at the dinner table after seeing a newspaper ad. And yet another story comes from his wife, who said the idea struck him while flipping through a Virginia newspaper. So, is it wallpaper? A doodle? A random newspaper clipping? Take your pick. Even Chevrolet admits the origin is a bit of a mystery. Number 2. Tesla. At first glance, Tesla's logo might just look like a futuristic T, but look again. It's actually a clever nod to the very thing that powers their cars. According to Elon Musk himself, the Tesla logo represents a cross-section of an electric motor. The vertical line is the rotor, and the curved line above it is part of the stator. So yes, it's not just stylish, it's nerdy in the best way. And let's not forget the name. Tesla is named after Nikola Tesla, the genius inventor who helped pioneer pioneer alternating current electricity. Musk's whole brand is built around Tesla's legacy of innovation, from zero-emission cars to rockets and AI robots that may or may not take over the world. Number 1. Bentley. This is the luxury car brand that practically oozes luxury, wealth, and the scent of old money. But what about that winged B badge on the hood? Well, it's not just a fancy letter with flair. The B stands for Bentley, obviously, but the wings are where things get interesting. They symbolize speed and freedom, paying tribute to the brand's early days in aviation-inspired performance and engineering. Back in the 1920s, Bentley was already dominating the racetrack, including multiple wins at Le Mans, so wings felt like the perfect fit. And here's a little detail you might have missed. Early Bentley logos actually had a different number of feathers on each wing, depending on the model. It was a subtle code to tell the models apart, because why not make luxury cryptic? If you enjoyed this video, here's another one you'll love. Thanks for watching.